This next section is going to cover Unit 1, Quiz 2 on polynomial arithmetic, and also Quiz 3. Quiz 2 is fairly short and straightforward. You might have learned this all in Algebra 1, so this might be review for you, um, but it might not be review. So here we're going to expand these terms. So we're just going to use the distributive property to do that. We're going to expand both of those. Negative 5k squared times k squared. We add exponents. When we multiply them with the same letter base, the exponents are added. So they're going to say minus 5k to the 2 plus 2, which is to the power of 4. And then negative 5k squared times negative 4k is plus 20. Two negatives make a positive, and 5 times 4 is 20. K squared times k is k to the power of 3. And it says your answer should be in polynomial standard form. So that's the standard form. So we're standard form goes from the highest degree term to the lower degree term. Okay, so our next question is an area problem. And it tells us the area of this in terms of a and a squared and a to the fourth. So we want to find, it says a rectangle has a height of 7a squared, and it tells us the width like this, and it says express the area of the rectangle as a polynomial. So area is just times base times height, or length times width. So we could say 7a squared times a to the fourth plus 5a squared plus 4, because we're multiplying the length times the width. So this is the same basic idea of multiplying all three of those out. So 7a squared times a to the fourth is 7a to the 6 plus, this would be 35a to the fourth plus 28a squared. And you can even write all these in here like this. So for the blue section, it would be that. This would be 35a to the fourth, and this one would be 28a squared. So that's our final answer for that one. It is in standard form as well, because we're going from the greatest degree to the least in descending. Let me just type this in here, and we'll go to the next question. Okay, so I think this is probably enough review actually for quiz 2, because these questions are essentially asking us to multiply one term by a group of terms, or by a polynomial uh, in parentheses. So I think 2 examples is probably enough there for multiplying. Um, Now we're going to get into polynomial arithmetic, um, which is Unit 1, Quiz 3 from Algebra 2. So this one, we're now going to be multiplying 2 binomials to find our answer. And it's a similar structure, and you probably learned this in earlier grades. We're going to use the FOIL method, or the distributive property. So we're going to multiply these first two first. So 2x to the fourth times 2x to the fourth is going to be 4x to the 8. 2x to the fourth times negative 3x cubed is negative 6x to the power of 7. So those are our first two. Now if we go to our second two, 3x cubed times 2x to the fourth is plus 6x to the seventh. And then 3x cubed times negative 3x cubed is just negative 9x to the power of 6. And we're going to combine like terms now. So we actually have the negative 6x to the 7th and the positive 6x to the 7th. We cancel those out because those end up equaling 0. So now we're just left with 4x to the power of 8 minus 9x to the power of 6. And again, this is in standard form. We're going from the greatest exponent to the least exponent in descending order. Okay, sometimes we'll see problems where it's written as squared. And it's really important to recognize that when we have something squared like this is called quantity squared. So whenever there are two items that are inside of parentheses like this, or yeah, whenever there's something inside parentheses and a squared, that does not mean that we make this squared and that squared and call it done. That's not how we solve that. This actually is 4t cubed minus 5 times the quantity of 4t cubed minus 5. So we say quantity 4t cubed minus 5 times the quantity 4t cubed minus 5. So this is how we write this out. So it is not going to be we square this and square that and then there's just two terms. No. So we got to do the same thing as before. I like to write these out this way. That helps me. So 16t to the sixth. We're going to add the exponents. Remember, multiplying the coefficients, adding the exponents, minus 20t cubed. And now we're going to go here, minus also 20t cubed. And then we're going to go to there, and that's plus 25. This becomes 16t to the sixth minus 40t cubed plus 25. And there is a shortcut to this. If we have something in the form of a plus b squared, quantity squared, this ends up being a squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. So if you're one of those people that wants to know a shortcut for this, this shortcut works every time. So it gets a little bit more complicated though when we have variables inside of the parentheses like this, because if we were to square 4t cubed, we have to be careful to square all of it. And so that means that this is 4 squared times t cubed squared, which is equal to 16 times t. Now this is power of a power, so this is multiplying the exponents now to the sixth. If this part's a little bit advanced for you, that's okay. This is the shortcut method. But if you follow along with that shortcut method, that's great. This is gonna be our main answer. So I only solve for what A was here. If we did the same thing, if we do what B is, we can solve for the rest of this as well, and we would get the same answer. All right, so I'm going to type this in. All right, let's do one more of these. This one has some negative values, so we'll just make sure to watch our signs for this next one. Here's our next one. Quantity 3a squared minus 1 times the quantity of negative 3a squared plus 5. All right, so we'll do the first one here, multiply those. So that would be 9a, negative 9a to the fourth. So you have positive times negative. 3a squared times 5 is plus 15a squared. Negative 1 times negative 3a squared is plus 3a squared. And negative 1 times 5 is minus 5. We do have some like terms here, so we'll rewrite this first term, the 5a squared and the 3a squared. I shouldn't, I sometimes like to cross them out actually, just to keep track if there's a lot of different terms together. Um, and you'll probably be doing that in when you get into pre-calculus and calculus. I personally like to cross things out because there's a lot to keep track of later on. But for now, if you don't want to cross them out, that's okay too. All right, so that's everything on polynomial arithmetic and multiplying polynomials.